Hey guys, Camfrey15 back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another Endo and Kobayashi episode review for you guys, a dual episode review, as we finally end off this surprisingly really damn good show. And I'm gonna really miss it. I really am. Like, this show was great, and I'm going to absolutely miss it. But this show, man, it was something special. Now I know I missed last week's episode, so hey, why not freaking talk about last week's episode in this week's episode as we ended off? And it was a kind of a nice, complimentary episode to each other. So obviously, last week's episode involved almost Lee Soliete getting involved or getting possessed by the Witch of Yore, and if not for Endo and Kobayashi pretty much bringing her back from the depths, they ended up saving her, and then as well as Siegwald ends up saving her. To the point, the Witch of Yore gets defeated, and surprisingly enough, the Witch of Yore is actually the goddess character they were talking about earlier in the series, which was Lyriena. Now, we get some interesting backstory about Lyriena, and we pretty much get the backstory of the fact that, well, she was the goddess, I guess, of the creation, alongside this other god named Kuon. Yeah, and they ended up creating these two human beings, obviously Adam and Eve, just like the Bible. And pretty much the thing is, we find out that Kuon eventually gained feelings and fell for Eve, and he fell for a human woman he created, pretty much. And the thing is, he was trying to get her attention and things like that, but she wasn't paying attention. She was obviously in love with Adam, and you kind of get a dark turn in this story where this dude literally kills Adam so he could try to be with Eve, but she didn't really care. So the thing is, over time, we get all these reincarnations of Adam and Eve throughout time that Kuon was creating so he could try to have one of these Eves fall for him, and, you know, he could get his, I guess you could say, his dream. Now, in the meantime, Lyriena did not like what Kuon was doing, and practically she gets very jealous and envious of the fact that, oh, this guy Kuon's only Eve's, like, only thing is in Eve's eyes. That's kind of the thing. And it ended up making her become the Witch of Yore. He ended up disappearing, which we find out he ended up disappearing to the real world. And that's, things got crazy. She ended up getting so crazy, and then that's when she started ending up resenting Lee Soliete. Now, we get some pretty shocking information that we find out that Baal and Fine are pretty much the reincarnations, another form of reincarnations of Adam and Eve, and pretty much Kuon, it was trying to find a way to bring Fine to the real world, so then he could end up having her fall. And the thing is, we find out that, like, Lyriena can see through Kuon's eyes, so Kuon knows where she's at, she knows where he's at, and it was kind of some pretty dang deep revelation right then and there, because this guy practically, all in all, this guy was practically, he was turned down, and he never got over being turned down. So he had a crush, and the crush rejected him, but he never got over it. So in a way, he was trying to play around and try to change fate, and things like that. So yeah, now that's when the episode pretty much ends, where we get this cliffhanger to where the doorbell rings, and what is it? It's Kobayashi's sister, but she ends up getting captured by Kuon. Now we actually do find out that in a way, Kuon has this dual personality: the god Kuon character, and then obviously the human side of him. Is right then and there. Now, obviously, the human side isn't kind of cool with what Kuon is doing, but Kuon's like, who gives a crap, whatever. So if you watch Black Clover, it's kind of there's a storyline similar in Black Clover where there's a character that will have a dual personality, which is pretty much holding another character within their body, and they kind of share the body. But it's something that I was like, oh, that's actually pretty interesting. So yeah, now we get into this week's episode, or the season finale, where practically after Kobayashi's older sister has been taken, practically Lee Rihanna is like, listen, stay calm. I can find Kuon, and we can find where, obviously Kuon is. And when I can do that, I'll bring him back, and then there's nothing he'll be able to do, and you can save your sister. And the thing is, he's probably trying to summon some version and try to turn her into Eve, so he, things. So eventually, when Endo and Kobayashi end up, finding the dude's Kuon's location, it actually kind of is a trap, pretty much. And the whole trap was to get Kobayashi to go. And the thing is, Kuon wasn't really going after Kobayashi's sister to make her another version of Eve. He was actually going after Kobayashi, because if you remember earlier in this season, he ended up he called Kobayashi Eve and things like that. So yes, now what happens is Lee Rihanna tries to get Kuon back to pretty much the game world, but Kuon's so strong, I guess at this point he blocks her out and she can't really do much of anything. So Kobayashi and Endo are practically on their own now. Now, in the meantime, Kuon's kind of saying these things that is getting under Kobayashi's skin, and also he also freezes them in place. And then pretty much, he's kind of doing the whole things like, hey, I know what's deep down in your heart. You're a little selfish. You're a little envious of your sister. It's not, you don't think it's fair about your sister and everything. And you kind of have Kobayashi kind of similarly going through the same thing that Lee Soliete was going through on the past couple of episodes in terms of doubting herself, in terms of looking at other people. And, she's talking about how her sister's so beautiful and she's nothing like her sister, and she was thinking like, what if, Endo actually likes, my sister and everything, and those two make a cute couple, it's hurting my heart and things like that. So, that's kind of thing. And she's starting to have the whole thing where the purple stuff is starting to corrupt her like it was with Lee Soliete. But then all of a sudden, we cut back, or then all of a sudden, we just hear Lee Soliete's voice pretty much appear beyond Kobayashi and says, you're lying to yourself. Don't believe what obviously Kuon is trying to tell you. And when Kobayashi ends up waking back up, we find out that actually Lee Soliete actually is appearing in their world in the form of a created doll that Kobayashi made. So she made this little miniature Lee Soliete little plushy doll, as a little keychain she hangs on her bag. And pretty much through Lee Soliete praying to the gods, pretty much, a part of her soul ended up going to the real world and going to this doll. Now, the reason why she did that is, well, she remembers the time when Kobayashi and Endo helped her out from almost being taken over by the Witch of Yore. And this is her way of repaying the favor. Pretty much she was like, no, I have to do this because they did it for me. I have to do it to save them. So I do kind of like the whole full circle thing. Now, this actually shocks Kuon, and he's like, what the hell? And pretty much Lee Soliete's telling Kuon, listen, you can't force somebody to fall in love with you because they just don't have feelings for you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, that's when Lee Soliete pretty much ends up what is it? She pretty much ends up telling, um, it's this is funny. She ends up actually telling, my goodness, not Siegwald, Endo. My goodness, I'm so sorry. She ends up telling Endo like, hey, you need to do your damn part, and you need to step up, and you need to stop hiding your feelings, making her feel all types of way and feel bad. And obviously, that's Lisa Leite making the point that, look, Endo, you need to explain your feelings, your true feelings for, Kobayashi. You guys made Siegwald do that for me. Well, you need to man up and you need to do it for her. So then we get the scene practically where Endo pretty much confesses to Kobayashi, saying that he's in love with her since, you know, the whole incident with the baseball stuff about him having pretty much have to call it a career. And then she was shocked by it, and then she ends up saying, Kobayashi ends up pretty much saying that she's in love with Endo too. So we pretty much got the confirmation there that no, she did like Endo. Heck, even when she was falling into deep despair, you could easily tell no, she was in love with Endo. Heck, even if you go back to that one episode when her sister first appeared, you know, you could tell, okay, yeah, she likes Endo. Like, she has feelings for the guy. So, they pretty much say to each other that they want to start going out. I absolutely found it funny because Kuon's like, hey, I'm still here, you know, and you're hooking up right in front of me. So I thought that was actually pretty hilarious because this guy, and when it did go back, I'm like, wait, these two are pouring each other's heart out to each other, saying how much they love each other. This guy who was like striving for love, trying to find his version of Eve, is like, oh my god, why? Why is this happening to me? Man can't find true love. But, the thing is, because of it, he ends up letting his guard down because eventually Lee Rihanna ends up connecting back. She protects him and then pulls out the Kuon god personality out of the real life human Kuon. And then pretty much she seals him away. So then practically he can never return, I guess. The day is pretty much saved. The real human body of Kuon apologizes for what he did, you know, and everything, but Endo and Kobayashi said, dude, it's not your fault. You were being controlled. They end up saving the sister. The sister ended up actually forgetting everything, but I get Endo and Kobayashi ended up telling her what the heck was going on. Lee Rihanna and Lee Suliete say their goodbyes. You get a pretty emotional scene in their goodbye between Kobayashi and Lee Suliete, because this is the first time Kobayashi's meeting Lee Suliete, because we know how much this game had an impact on Kobayashi. So we get the last bits of the part where they're playing their game, and pretty much they tell them like, listen, this is kind of it. You know, we have really nothing else. We saved everybody, you know, and there's nothing else to do, but that's it. The game's over pretty much for us. And they tell that to Siegwald, and pretty much they say, hey, you don't have to identify us as gods. You can just call us by your names, Endo and Kobayashi. And it was a funny scene because it took a lot out of freaking Siegwald to call them by their names. But the game pretty much fizzes out. It cuts off, and it seems like, and it goes back to the start screen. And Siegwald and the others can't hear Endo and Kobayashi, and Endo and Kobayashi can't do much of anything else. So I take it some time has passed. It's pretty much the day of Siegwald's and Lee Soliete's wedding, and we actually kind of get a pretty much shocking, I wouldn't say bittersweet, shocking, very cool, very sweet ending. And we see it where Goddess Lee Rihanna actually ends up bringing Endo and Kobayashi to Lee Soliete and Siegwald's world. They're literally there in the physical body right then and there. So you have Siegwald and Endo dab up. You finally have Kobayashi embracing with Lee Soliete, you know, finally touching hands. Honestly, I thought that was cool as shit. Like, for a romance anime, typically they would do it where they would have ended it off like, oh, hey, this is where this relationship is going with Sigwald and Lisa Elite, they're getting married. You see where Ball and Fine is going, and then you cut over to the real world to see what's going on with Endo and Kobayashi, and they're living obviously a really good life and everything. But I actually like this kind of a twist in a way where the goddess pretty much brought them to their world, and they've got to meet pretty much the game counterpart characters in person that they pretty much assisted this entire time. And I really did like Kobayashi's embraceful moment with Lisa Liete, because you could tell, like, no, she loves the character. And the fact that they're actually meeting the person, just to see Sigwald and Lisa Liete meet the people, meet Endo and Kobayashi. It was freaking fantastic, man. They get married, pretty much. Sigwald says, I'm always going to be by Lisa's side. And then you get the ending part of it, and which is a picture. And that's where the episode ends off. Oh yeah, the one guy ends up pretty much telling Fine's mom that he's loved her, and she was like, what? So I guess those two are gonna get hooked up, but that's kind of the thing there. And yeah, and that's how it ends. And it was a really great ending. Like, it's absolutely crazy, because I'm guessing that means now that Lee Rihanna can actually take him back, put him back in the human world, but at the same time can also bring him to that world. So geez, if there was ever like a sequel series, you could have it focused on like Endo and Kobayashi's kids, and probably Sigwald's and Lisa Liete's kids. That would be like a crazy sequel if that was the case. And I would envision that Lee Rihanna could probably bring Endo and Kobayashi to their world there and back all the damn time. Now the question would be, would Sigwald and Lisa Liete be able to go over to Endo and Kobayashi's world, the real world? But I take it not. But it was actually a really damn good ending, and I really did appreciate that little twist on the story of having the human characters from the real world in a way kind of isekai or be sent to this world. But it seems like Lee Rihanna can always send them back to the human world, because that would make sense. But I thought that was pretty cool. And overall, Endo Kobayashi, when I look at winter of anime 2023, my bad. Endo Kobayashi was a very underrated show, man. It was a very underrated rom-com show, and it's definitely one of the best like rom-com shows, or I guess villainess type of anime, since it kind of has that type of genre too. And it was really damn good, and I really did like this show from beginning to end. I always knew it had a very interesting premise from the moment I did my like what I will watch / review for, and just seeing all these episodes, man, they were just great. It was just great. Like, it was a unique take of a type of rom-com villainess anime, where this time you got the human characters actually interacting with the game characters and playing a huge integral role in it. And even the last bit of episodes, it got pretty deep with this whole expanded god stuff. But it was really damn good, and I really did enjoy this show, and I'm really gonna miss this show. This was really good. I hope one day this show ends up getting dubbed. It is done by High Dive, so I would envision that they would go back and dub it. The only question is when that would happen. Who knows? But honestly, I think this is a show that, because I'm a big English dub fan for animes, I think this would be a really good show that I would love to see and rewatch again if they were to do an English dub. If they ever do that, who knows? But this is definitely a show I would not be mad about rewatching it all through the sub version. I did like it. I liked all the relationships, preferably, obviously, Lisa Liete and Sigwald. I thought it was whole funny, the fact that deep down she was just a tsundere. And then you have that whole Kobayashi and Endo relationship. I did like that, so it was pretty cool. So we get a nice happy ending, and yeah, but that's pretty much it for me talking Endo and Kobayashi on the channel. So yeah, if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's episode of Endo, or the last 2 weeks episode, and I guess the finale of Endo and Kobayashi, and things like that. But till then, guys, catch you guys in the next video. See you guys later. Have a great rest of your day. Till then, guys, peace.